Alright, gentlemen. In this episode, we will demonstrate how does the with the control rig play the GuZheng. We need to open the GuZheng software. The interface looks like this. And the first interface is the character interface. I have 3 characters in it right now. 2 versions of Zhongli, 1 Unreal version, a Blender version, and the Huda we just made. So here's going to be some action parameters. Pick speed. This refers to the time between the finger in the ready position and the actual touch of the string. And it's kind of like the touch time of a piano. Put your finger where the piano keys are ready. What is the time to press to the end? So what I'm setting here is 0.1 seconds. It's about the same as a piano. Next is movement speed. It's the speed of the palm of your hand. Let's say I move from the 10th string to the 20th string. It takes 1 second. The unit is the string second. That means you can move the position of several strings per second. The default setting is that you can move 10 strings in 1 second. This is the outer plucking probability, because when the GuZheng is played, the character is using finger picks. It can be plucked inward. Just move towards the palm. It also can be plucked outer. It just moves out of the palm of your hand. The probability of these 2 situations is not the same. You can set the probability of outer plucking here. The default value is 30%. You can actually lower that. Next is the sensitivity of the character to change orientation. I told you about the control rig. Character, look at control, which is bound under the mid-hand. If the mid-hand moves, the head moves. That's too often. So, in order to keep the head from moving too much, there will be a sensitivity here. Sensitivity if you fill it up. Then, any tiny hand movement will cause head movement. If you set it lower, the head movement is less frequent. Relatively natural. Next is a record pool setup. This involves our entire algorithmic mechanism. Fingering generation is actually a horse racing system. It's like having a big enough pool. Each iteration of this pool, it will leave a certain number of fingerings in front. The default size of this pool is 200. You can increase the pool size, but the calculation speed will be much slower. In theory, larger values allow for more reasonable fingerings to be calculated. Is enough. The horse racing system compares the entropy of different fingerings, or how much they move and how complex they are. If the entropy is too high, it will be discarded. It will be retained for the next iteration. The next 2 parameters are finger detection. One is tremolo. One is arpeggio detection. That is to say, in MIDI music notes, when adjacent music notes with the same pitch are detected. If the interval between them is less than 0.3 seconds, so we know it might be tremolo. And the same goes for arpeggio. If an ascending or descending pentatonic scale is detected, and the time between each music note is less than 0.3 seconds, then I thought it might be an arpeggio. What I call arpeggios. It's not the arpeggios of the thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger in turn. It's played with a single finger all at once. Let's say you push your thumb all the way down. Or rather, the arpeggio sound that the index finger dials back. These are the parameters of the detection technique. If you're not familiar with it, you can leave it alone. Just press this default value. Okay, the next interface is the MIDI information. We will use the MIDI Offspring River Flower Moon Night for our demonstration today. I find it first. Open it and click Scan. The information of the MIDI track will come out here. We can choose which track to play. Now there's only one track, track 2. This MIDI is generated through the Prism plugin. After generation, because there is no GuZheng sound in MIDI, so I set it to a sitar tone when I tested it. So the name of the instrument shown here is sitar. After adding the track, there is a parameter setting. You don't need to worry about the first parameter. By default, -1 is used to select all channels. The value of FPS depends on what frame rate video you are going to produce. My default is 60. This value must match the value in the sequence in Unreal. Next is music note quantification. Music note quantification means that the time value of MIDI music note may be more fragmented, although they did not ring at the same time. But they are very close together. If you want them to be played as a chord, then you have to set a quantitative fineness. 16分之一 music note or 32分之一 music note. However, for GuZheng, here's my suggestion. If you use the sound source of the real GuZheng to generate MIDI, you have to choose unquantized. Why is that? Because there are too many tremolo and arpeggios in the GuZheng. If you choose the quantization parameter, it's very easy to combine two adjacent music notes into one chord that sounds simultaneously. As a result, the actual fingerings cannot be detected correctly. If you choose MIDI, it doesn't actually come from the real sound source of the GuZheng playing. It's a piano or a guitar or something. Then you can use this quantitative option so that it can recognize chords correctly, so as not to become very fragmented. I choose this. Now spring, river. It is from the real GuZheng sound source, so I chose unquantified. Next, you generate the animation. You can do it step by step. The first step is to analyze the music. The second step is to generate the third step is to generate the animation. Generally speaking, we just execute it with one click and it's done. This generation speed is still quite fast. Let's wait a moment. Actually, this piece is quite long. Spring, river, flower, moonlight. This piece is 8 minutes long. So the number of music notes to deal with is still quite large. Okay, it's all generated. We're going to replicate the result now. Switch to Music DAW Operation Interface. There's an animation generation module. Here you can enter or select the path. We click and paste the copied result into it. And then all we're going to do is generate the animation. Okay, save it. And then I'm going to add some sound, because I haven't added the sound source yet. Audio here. Spring, river, flower, moonlight. I have made the Zhongli version before, so there's a ready-made musical asset here. The Spring, River, Flower, Moonlight of the Central Chinese Orchestra. Take a look. 30,780 frames. It's a long time, 513 seconds. Let's change the length here. Okay, let's play it. Okay, so much for the demo. If you want to hear the full version, you can go to my video to find the version of Zhang Li, because the generated actions are the same. I'm going to finish the last interface of ZhengDrift. Once we're done generating the animation, in fact, in the middle of the generation
it generates
process, a specialized fingering file. We go to the fourth interface. It's the technique editor here. After switching here, it will automatically display the contents of this fingering file. It shows the detected arpeggio and the specific information of tremolo. We can see the first thing to detect is a tremolo. The purple one is tremolo. The yellow ones are arpeggios. The music note is 59. Then between frames 547.8 and 568, pluck back and forth 5 times. Let's take a look at frame 59. Oh, it's not frame 59. 559 is the pitch. It's the Hu Dao play tremolo in this place now. This is a 59 pitch tremolo. Of course, we can also inquire more accurately. For example, pick a point in time, the technique of 200 frames before and after 1500. Let's do a search. Here are the results. And techniques can also be filtered here. For example, I only look up arpeggios now. This is all the arpeggios. So what is the use of this function? The first is what techniques you see throughout the process. Second, if there's something you don't feel is appropriate, you can change it. Select this tag. The current technique can be cancelled. Click Save, and this technique will be revoked. After undoing, we have to go back to generating animations again. Where do I start? Start here with the second step of generating fingerings. Technique testing is done during the parsing stage. The first stage will generate test results. After we change the test results, we need to regenerate the fingerings and animations. Then come back to Unreal and click to generate the animation. So, the modifications we just made on the technique editor side will finally take effect. As I said before, these instruments developed later. I will try my best to add some functions that allow users to modify some animations. Strictly speaking, all fingerings, you can change it in a more fine-grained way. That is, directly modify the MIDI, but modifying MIDI is too much trouble. Unless you have very high requirements for movement. Then you really need to modify MIDI. The MIDI of Teespring River, Flower, Moon Knight is the result of Prism plugin recognition. There's a lot wrong with it. The most common problem is that sometimes only one note is played, but the result of the recognition often brings out an extra octave. Also, there's a lot of tremolos and arpeggios in this piece. But arpeggio recognition is easy to miss. It's actually a complete pentatonic scale, down or up. But because the playing speed is too fast, as a result, some music notes identified will be lost. The plugin cannot be recognized. In this case, if you are very demanding, hopefully it's exactly the same as the real performance. Then you need to go to the MIDI, make up for the missing music note in that arpeggio. So it's actually manual labor, well known. I like doing manual labor the least. This is a programmer's malady. Duplicate work. Try not to do it if you can. So I know it's theoretically possible to do this. But I never go for it. Because I think it's too much trouble. I can only make this compromise function. You can go and cancel the trick that thinks it's misidentification. Okay, so this is how ZhengDrift is used. Certainly, and it doesn't end there. Actually, you can also do a lot of processing on it. For example, fabric simulation. Use the Kawaii plugin to add some swings. You can also go through animation mixing. Add a lot of extra actions. Some of the content has been covered in my other videos. I won't go into that. Then this is the basic content of this video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.